says on mine we're streaming.
There we go. Yeah, good to go.
Cool. Okay. All right. Morning, everybody. Morning, members. Morning, officers. Thank you all for being here at the Staffing Matters Subcommittee. As per the usual rules and regs now of these remote meetings, this is being streamed live on Facebook. On YouTube. We're not in control of the comments that are being posted live on the YouTube channel, so apologies if there is anything untoward on there. We will also take votes verbally, so each member of the committee will be asked individually how they will vote so that it is recorded as a true record. It's a very short agenda this morning, but afterwards I would like, as we've done in previous committees, to just have a brief discussion with the members of the committee afterwards about any further items to come to this committee, and indeed one that has been raised by an officer as well. So I'd ask members to just hang fire at the end if they can. The first is apologies for absence. First agenda item, apologies for absence. There are none. We are a full house of members. Do we have any declarations of interest? No member is indicating, so there is no declarations of interest. The third agenda item is the minutes of the meeting that was held on the 2nd of June. Are there any matters arising from those minutes? In which case, I'm going to ask members if they are agreed to the minutes as a true record. Councillor Smith?
Yes.
Councillor Baggott?
Yes.
Councillor Blake?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. So the minutes are carried. Thank you, members. Agenda item 4 is the proposed revisions to the council's committees, as we discussed 2 weeks ago in relation to some of the committee remits, looking to move economic development from the current infrastructure and inclusive growth committee to the external affairs committee, with obviously a much more focused remit around looking at the impact of COVID on our business community. Do we, Mr. Bergenshaw, do you have anything to add to the report, which I think is a very self-explanatory report for members?
Yeah, no, just it's a self-explanatory report, so I'd just make a couple of draw attention to a couple of key points. I think, as you referenced a couple of weeks ago, obviously this is will be for further review and validation at the annual council meeting planned for the 24th of September. But I think the primary reasons for bringing it forward now, as we're aware, economic development is always, but particularly a key area in response to COVID-19. I think it's around the committee being able to prepare and work on the work programme, so it's not kind of October, November before they get going. So we'll obviously work with them. I think the external affairs meeting is tomorrow evening, but I think the chairman plans, subject to approval, to liaise with officers and bring forward a revised programme to a meeting to be convened in the next few weeks, so that work programme for the committee is clear, but nothing else to add to the report and those comments.
Thank you, Mr. Bergenshaw. Does any member wish to speak on this item? Councillor Baggott.
Thank you, Chairman. I mean, obviously, from our point of view, I think that it does a disservice to the current chairman. It gives the impression that somehow they aren't up to the task of economic development, which I'm sure isn't what you intend. But I do know that Councillor Sargent, for quite some time now, for over a year, has raised issues about the committee this is going to, on the basis that it doesn't have any real remit. It's more a scrutiny committee than a service committee, and that in fact they've had very minimalistic meetings for a year. No decisions have been made, and it almost, you know, to us gives the impression it was set up just so that it gives the chairman an allowance because he's your mate. So I'm really glad now that you're recognising that and giving that committee something that it can sink its teeth to and actually function and provide value of money to the taxpayer.
Thank you, Councillor Baggott. It's always nice to take lectures off of you over handing out allowances to mates, given what happened 12 months ago with over £100,000 being handed out to your friends in order to win votes in an internal leadership contest. I think the reality is that Councillor Sargent, as you have mentioned her, has fundamentally misunderstood all year long what that committee has done, because of course it has had a remit, and particularly around the Our Place stuff that it's been bringing forward. The biggest consultation exercise ever done in Basildon Council's history with its public about the brand, about the place, about how it interacts with partners, and about how the public want to engage with the council. And it has formed the basis of a number of policy decisions that have gone forward this year. So I'm not surprised that Councillor Sargent has not got her head around that fully, but it has been a committee that has done an awful lot of good work, particularly in holding to account some of the decisions that we know have come from Essex County Council and other partners as well. So crucial when it comes to this new way of working. Adele will be taking, Councillor Brown will be taking forward the work of the council on the local plan and on infrastructure, and in a matter of just a few weeks' time there will be pause for lots of discussion, shall we say, about infrastructure. So that will mean that Councillor Brown's committee is a very busy committee this year, and I think it makes sense for Councillor McGurran, who is doing an awful lot of work on the external affairs, on the partnerships with our businesses, to take forward the economic development, particularly as well as he chairs the COVID policy development group as well on the council. So all of this is about joined up government and making sure that we are working with the right officers at the right time to make the right decisions. Councillor Baggott, you want to come back?
Yeah, only to because you raised a couple of points which are worth just sort of commenting on. We could have let it lie. You say tomato, we say tomato. But I would point out for the record that at no point when we set up our particular structure were there anybody put in a position for any sort of vote or any internal leadership. In fact, we were united, and I'm a great believer, much that I think you are, in the actions you've taken in ensuring that you have the right chairman doing the right job. It just seems very sad right now that you've sacked Councillor Burton Sampson on one committee and replaced him with yourself. You're sacking Councillor Brown from looking at economic development in favour of your mate. It does seem that your support seems to be dwindling within the Labour group, that you're having to just have 2 or 3 people carry the can for the whole alliance. But for the record, we actually set up a structure which we believe would work. I'm sure you believe that your structure actually works. And that's the only thing I would say on that particular matter.
Absolutely. Well done, Councillor. 21 out of 23 Conservative councillors were given special responsibility allowances under your administration. In this administration, councillors do not take second allowances, and we have been very clear about that, which is why tonight at the Housing and Community Committee, the saving that has been made will go towards funding a summer schools canteen for kids in our borough who are not able to access food, and subject to the vote today may not be able to access free school meal vouchers as well. So on this side, we are lining the stomachs of our children, not lining the pockets of our councillors, which was certainly the case 12 months ago. There's no further indications from members to speak on the substantive recommendations in the report, so I am going to take a vote on it. All those, I assume everyone has seen the recommendations. The recommendation is there on the supplementary agenda that was circulated yesterday, and I'm going to go around and ask members how they vote. Councillor Smith.
In favour.
Councillor Baggott.
Abstain.
Councillor Blake.
Abstain.
And I vote in favour. So therefore the recommendation is carried. Thank you to Paul Birkinshaw for that, and we can relay that to the respective chairs of those committees that vote has now been carried. That concludes the business, the formal business for today. As I said, I'd like members to just hang fire after we go into closed session. So I'd thank Karina and ask that we turn the recording off and the stream. Thank you.